Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Corr, and I am a research assistant at the Trinity Centre for Aging and Intellectual Disability at Trinity College Dublin. I have worked at the centre for the past year on a research project studying post-diagnostic dementia support guidelines for people with an intellectual disability. I am delighted to be able to share the work that I have been developing over the past year with you all today. The vitae research career development framework is grounded in research through interviews and focus groups with over 100 researchers, particular expertise from specialists and stakeholders. The resulting framework captures the knowledge, behaviours, and attributes that a higher education sector has identified as important for researchers. The European Union has said it is important to build researcher career and to get support from management to do this. There is growing need to establish the career of researcher careers and to get support from management to do this. There is growing need to establish the career of researcher as value profession. As a result, in 2009, vitae developed the Researcher Development Framework for researchers, working with the higher education sector and other people. The framework was developed to help researchers evaluate and plan their professional development, support the development of researchers through supervision, plan and provide support for researchers' career development. The vitae Researcher Development Framework helps research staff to learn about skills they need. Putting these skills together in one document is very helpful in learning research skills. Accessible easy read version of this framework is not yet available. Therefore, this innovation could help people with an intellectual disability working in research to do better in their careers. The vitae Research Development Framework is structured into 4 domains, covering the knowledge, behaviors of researchers within each of the domains. There are additional sections. An accessible version of the framework is not currently available, as there is no official accessible easy revision of the vitae Research Development Framework available. The aim was to translate core elements within this framework into accessible, easy read material. Furthermore, the vitae Research Development Framework is used by researchers working within our project about dementia support guidelines for people with an intellectual disability. Therefore, the research team sought to develop an accessible, easy read version of the framework as a research for staff within the Trinity Centre for Aging, Intellectual Disability. This work was undertaken within the Trinity Centre, Aging and Intellectual Disability over a 6-month period between May and October of 2021. core elements within the vitae research development framework for trafficking to accessible, easy read materials were identified by the research fellow and research assistants. The core elements were further explored by the team, and the team worked together to develop them to accessible language. Visual images were used from photo symbols to make the material more accessible and to support the text within the documents. The second of the vitae research development framework that I could to translate into accessible, easy to included subject knowledge, research methods, information seeking from domain A, problem solving, inquiry mind, self-confidence, responsiveness to change from domain B, ethics from domain C, teamwork from domain D. The work included creating material on these specific sections to research on the specific topic of that section and learn about this in the process. At the same time, we worked on translating this information to accessible material. I worked with the research team to draft the framework sections within the domains that will be most useful for our researcher to develop. I read any relevant easy read material and made recommendations that I review the easy read material. And if there are any changes to be done, I will make these changes. While creating this material, there was also practical application relevant to each section. For example, for research methods, I attended focus groups relevant to the post-diagnostic dementia support for people with an intellectual disability project. I also contributed to question development for a survey about the practical application I contributed. Development of accessible material for interviews with people with an intellectual disability, staff and family members. This created a process of developing an accessible version of vitae research development framework involved working with others, building knowledge of my subject, practical application of this knowledge. This result in key learnings which enable me to build my skill development as a researcher. Through cooperation, bringing together information from multiple sources and co-design, the authors develop easy read material based on the core elements within the vitae research development framework. As I have experience of living with Down syndrome, I have a perspective that other team members wouldn't have. The developed material was used to increase my knowledge of research methods and apply this knowledge in a practical setting. We developed easy read material based on the core elements within the vitae research development framework. The developed material was used to increase my knowledge of research methods, as well as developing my professional research skill set. The framework is a great way to be able to show other people what they can do to develop their skills as a researcher and to get involved in research opportunities. We can also use this framework to help people with an intellectual disability to understand it better. That was something new for me. I had never done anything like this before because this was new. I had to learn new things in order to do this work. It is useful for me to learn more about different skills, like problem solving, so the easy way for it to help me understand it more easily. I think the framework will be useful for people in their future, like people who have Down syndrome or older people who prefer to use easy read materials. It's useful for people who are working in research for themselves and for them to explain what they are doing to their peers or family. Thank you very much for your attention today. It's been great to be able to present the work that I have been developing together with my colleagues over the past year. I would like to thank my colleagues, Professor Mary McCarran, Dr. Eamon McGlintley, Andrew and Holly for their contribution to this work. I would also like to thank the wider team at the Trinity Centre for Aging and Intellectual Disability for their continued support. If you would like further information about this work, you can contact me or my colleagues. I will now take any questions you may have.